Welcome back to the deserted streets of Hat Yai. I heard last week that the border had reopened on the 1st of April and I was expecting to see a few tourists around, but the streets are still completely deserted, so maybe that was an April Fool's joke. I'm still not sure what the actual status is with the border. Also, sorry about the poor sound quality. It's this thing which I really hate wearing. I read recently that there's no law to say that people should wear masks outside. But if I don't wear one, the local Thais are going to get very upset, and I've heard stories of the police slapping big fines on Farangs for not wearing masks, so it's not really a risk I want to take. When I first started to learn to read Thai, it was a two-stage process. First, I did the theory using books, or more precisely book. The only book you need is Learn to Read Thai by David Smith. It's quite a small book and it's got everything you need. And then for practice, I just used to go outside, or just as part of my everyday life when I was going out to eat or shop, and I'd look for signs and I'd read, or try to read, everything that I saw. It was a good way to practice. One of the problems was that the fonts used on the signs, these sort of stylized fonts, were very different to the fonts I'd seen in my book. And that gave me a few problems, so I had to ask Thais, what certain characters were, so I didn't recognise them. And I was reminded of this in an email I received recently, and I've also seen comments about it. So the idea of today's video is just to walk around looking at signs, trying to find some of these strange fonts, and then helping you to understand what the characters actually are. Just a reminder that from now on, I'll only be adding content to this channel about Thai language. That's how the channel started, but it didn't get much interest. So to try to get more people interested, I started adding content about other things. But then I ended up with a lot of mixed content. So the people who had subscribed for Thai language videos started seeing videos about other things they probably weren't interested in. And with the videos and other subjects, it probably deterred people seeing a channel called Learn to Read Thai, because they're not interested in learning to read Thai. So what I started to do was to put the videos related to other things on another channel. I'll give a link below. And this channel is just for Thai language. I apologise for my poor pronunciation and tones, but I started to learn Thai too late in life to do anything about it. So there's not much we can do, and I've got no Thai assistant today. First is some handwriting. And what we have, panak ngang, like staff. Ran ni, ran is shop, ni this. So this shop actually includes the sort of shops just along here. Dai rap vaccine, COVID-19 leo. So rap, like to receive. Vaccine is an English word transliterated into Thai. Vaccine. COVID-19, Lao already. So it's just to sort of reassure people that if they buy anything from these shops, the people they're buying from have been vaccinated. Not language related, but I've just had a quick chat with a tuk-tuk driver about the lack of tourists in town. And he's told me that people at the border doing this ATK test are being charged 1,800 baht. And these tests cost next to nothing, so someone is making a huge profit. And he also told me that if they get a negative ATK test, they've then got to pay, he wasn't sure, is it 4,000 or 5,000 baht to go to Hat Yai. So there's some big financial disincentives not to come. And I'm not really sure why this is happening, because they should be doing all they can to incent people to come into Hat Yai. Because the local economy is suffering so much, and the local people really need tourists. This sign has a fairly irregular font, easy to read. So top line, samrap, which is this sort of formal word for, pur being the informal word. Jot rot yon, so rot yon is a car, and jot park, and the bottom line is tao nan, which is only. So you can't park other vehicles here other than cars. Some signs only have a partial translation. The English on this sign says odd days, but it may not be clear what that means. So looking at the Thai above, harm, which is like don't do something. Jot rod, park vehicle. One key, one day, key odd. Or one cool will be even day. So you can't park your car on this side of the road on odd numbered days of the month. And here's the corresponding sign on the other side of the road. So it's exactly the same, except for the last part, which is one cool rather than one key. So this is, you can't park your car on even days. This is the very first apartment building I stayed in Hat Yai, right next door to Chiao Temple on Supasan Rangsan Road. Quite an active area, and there are lots of food vendors along this street. Here's another handwritten sign. So at the top we've got bird, like a low tone. That means open. And with the months, Thais will often abbreviate them. So 1T 7, and this one is Metsayon, which is April, and 65 is this year. In Thailand, certain places are associated with certain types of food, and Thais think that to get authentic dishes you have to get food from those places. So for example, all around Thailand, if you see fried chicken advertised, Hat Yai is well known for fried chicken, so it might say, you know, Gai Tod, Hat Yai. And here we have cow tom chumpon. So cow, well, a falling tone is rice, tom is like boiled, so boiled rice, and this comes from chumpon, chumpon being in the upper part of southern Thailand. Regarding what I was saying about tourists being charged 1800 baht at the border for ATK tests, there's a little sign here, ATK, Truat Doi, Don Eng, like Truat to check, Don Eng yourself. Raka, as price, 90 baht, 90 baht. So you might think, okay, I won't pay 1800 baht, I'll do it myself for 90 baht. But you need the official piece of paper, so you can't do it yourself, so you've got to pay someone 1800 baht, and they make a huge profit. The signs we've seen so far have been quite easy to read, no strange fonts. One of the things that really confused me at first is this character here. Looks like a backwards C. And this is actually what Wan, the like W consonant. So this says Wea Ba Tamgan Jan Tung Sao. So open for service Monday to Saturday. There's a shop next door with basically the same thing, and it's in a much clearer font. I'll just show you. So here we have Wela Tamgan Jantung Suk. So this place is only open from Monday to Friday, but the War Wan with the little loop at the bottom is much clearer in this sign than the previous sign. This is quite a tricky one. You see the first consonant here, this is Gogai, and it looks nothing like a Gogai you will see in your books. And there's a problem with the transliteration that K sounds in English are transliterated to Gogai. So this is actually, this word is an English word transliterated into Thai, and it starts with a C, which is like a K sound. That's everything in English. C can have a K sound or an S sound. This one has a K sound, but the transliteration is turned into a Gogai, and it really needs to be one of the K consonants. And because it's a transliterated English word, the English word has an R, so they've put a raw rua in here to follow the English spelling, but it's not needed, so they put the garan symbol above it. That word actually says card, which is like card in English, C-A-R-D. So this shop makes cards, and the top one is ngang tang, like ngang ceremony, tang marriage. So they make cards for wedding ceremonies. And underneath, gard ngang buat, Buat is ordination, which is a big thing in Thailand for males when they get to about 20 or 21. They ordain as a monk and spend, you know, about a week at the temple. So this place makes cards for those two ceremonies, but this sign is quite confusing, especially if you've only just learnt to read Thai. With these stylized fonts, the little loops often disappear. So these characters here are both Dordek, and not with Dordek you'll normally have a little loop, but they've gone. So Song Pasadu Duan, which is like send parcels quickly, Tua Thai, all across Thailand. And again we see the War Wan has just turned into a backwards English C. Another character that really confused me at first is the one that looks like an English S up here, and that's actually Rorua, the Thai R consonant. So this is a car park. Because there's tape over here, I think it's closed at the moment. Tijot Road. And Rai 1 means it's like a daily rate. So the daily rate is 60 baht Rot Yon cars. Sometimes you'll see this word Rai like with apartment buildings. So they might have a Rai 1 like a daily rate and a Rai Duan monthly rate. So the backward C, the War Wang, got me, and the English S, the Raw Rua, was another one that confused me. There's an English transliteration underneath, but this one could be a bit of a challenge. So the first word, we've got Saraiya, and the consonant is Georgian, so that's Jia. The transliteration says Chia, but it's really a J sound, Jia. And that Saucer is really strange. You can just about see the sort of law ling shape, then there's a Tao. So Saucer, and then To Tao. Then you've got the vowel, which is Sara'u, so that's Satu. And Dordek, and above that is the Sara'it and Sara'o or Ang, an English word, Jia Studio. Not language again, but this is quite interesting. I did a video about Songkhla recently, about how a lot of the old buildings have been restored and turned into restaurants and hotels. And in Hat Yai there aren't many old buildings left, but where I am now there's just a sort of small row of old buildings, and one of them has been restored, like the old buildings in Songkhla. It's the first time I've seen it. So hopefully the other buildings adjacent to this one will also be restored, and then it should look really nice. These old buildings are huge inside and they've got a lot of character. It would be such a shame to demolish them and replace them with new buildings, and they're doing the right thing by restoring them. Here's a painting of the old row of buildings, and the girl has just told me that it's been open for quite a long time, and today is only the first time I've seen it, and that's possibly because of COVID and the lockdowns, and that since the start of COVID I just haven't been to the downtown area very much. I really love old photographs, and on the second floor of this place they've got lots of old photographs of Hat Yai, so I'm really enjoying looking around. And the big difference between Songkhla and Hat Yai is that in Songkhla a lot of the old buildings still remain, but because Hat Yai is such an important commercial city, a lot of the old buildings were demolished to make way for new commercial buildings. And there are very few old buildings left in Hat Yai. So I'm really pleased that they're sort of taking care of what's left and making an effort to restore these places. There are still some old wooden buildings around Hat Yai train station, but these are about the only old buildings in the middle of town. They're the classic Sino-Portuguese architecture with the 5-foot way in front. You see buildings like this in other parts of Asia, in Singapore, in parts of Malaysia, especially Penang, and it's only right that they should be protected and preserved. There's no way they should be demolished or just left to rot. At one point, all of the buildings were like this, which is a real shame. Anyway, I apologise for going off track a bit. At the beginning of the video, I said this video will be about language, and I've gone on to another subject, but this is just something I've seen that is quite interesting to me. This sign's got a slightly stylized font, but it's not too difficult to read. This is a massage shop. So the name of the shop is La Na, which is one of these old words for the Chiang Mai area, north of Thailand. Lan is a million, and Na is like rice field, so land of a million rice fields. And underneath, Nuat, massage, Pua. I mentioned earlier in the video, I think it's one of those parking signs that the formal word for four is Samrap. Well, this is the informal word, Pua. So Nuat, Nuat Pua, massage for, and Sukhapap is health, massage for health. Earlier on we saw boiled rice from Chumpon, and here we've got Bak Kut Teh from Singapore, and Nam Tum Graduk Mu. So Graduk is bones and Mu is pig, so some kind of soup made from pig bones. And the Bak Kut Teh is like a pig's, or sorry, pork soup. I'm getting into Thai habits now saying pig. A pork soup with herbs. And the ethnic Chinese tourists that come from Singapore and Malaysia really like it. So here it's authentic, it comes from Singapore. When you see fonts in books, they have lots of little loops. But on the signs in real life, those little loops tend to disappear. So here you have cow mudang, rice with red pork, and cow mugrop, rice with crispy pork. This sign says Guaitiao Rua Anu Sawari, and Guaitiao noodles, Rua is boat, so these are boat noodles, and the famous place in Thailand for boat noodles is Victory Monument in Bangkok, and that's Anu Sawari in Thai. So today we've seen boiled rice from Chumpon, Bak Kut Teh from Singapore, and boat noodles from Victory Monument in Bangkok. The problem for me now doing this type of video is that I've been doing this for a long time, and I've got so used to it that what might seem strange to other people now seems normal to me. If you have any problems and you want to send me a photo, I'll leave a link to my email address below. Just drop me a line, I'll get back to you. The best thing to do is just to practice all the time. I mentioned earlier that when I first started learning, I'd just walk around trying to read signs, and it's a habit that I've never got out of. Even now, whatever I'm doing, I'll be looking out for and trying to read signs, and that's the best thing to do. It's very easy if you're in Thailand, there's just practice material everywhere. If you're not in Thailand, then I guess the best thing is the internet. Just do a Google Images search for Thailand signs. And if you have any problems, by all means drop me a line and I'll try and get back to you. I've received some very strange emails and read some strange comments over the years about language learning. And some people seem to think that to learn a language, all you need to do is find out the magic trick that allows you to learn the language without putting in any effort. If you can do that, it will be easy. And they can't make out why no one has told them the magic trick, but they know it's out there somewhere. And some foreigners think that way about learning Thai. And when I was teaching English in Thailand, I had Thai students who thought the same way about learning English. It's just complete nonsense. I don't know why they think that way. Learning a language is tough, and it just needs lots of effort and lots of practice. So that's all you can do. Just put a lot of effort in. Practice. If you get problems, ask someone. By all means, send me an email or ask a Thai person. And if you keep doing that, eventually everything will fall into place. I'm just about to head home. There'll be more videos soon. And as I said before, I'm going to reserve this channel for videos just about Thai language. And for videos related to Thailand but not language, I'm going to put those on the other channel. Thank you for watching.